Hey, if you're a manager, you know this feeling, right? You spend all this time building these perfect performance scorecards for your team, and then they just fall flat. They don't seem to make any real impact. It is so frustrating. But what if I told you there's a really simple fix? Let's dive into why this happens, and way more importantly, how to solve it for good. So let me just ask you point blank. Are those scorecards you worked so hard on basically just gathering dust? Are they just a bunch of numbers on a spreadsheet that maybe get a quick look at the end of the month? Or even worse, only when the annual review rolls around? You're not alone if you're nodding your head right now. It's an incredibly common problem. And this right here gets to the absolute heart of the matter. The source material puts it perfectly. Scorecards without conversations are just numbers. See, without that dedicated time to actually talk about them, they lose all their power. They're not tools for growth anymore. They're just artifacts. But what if there was a simple, structured way to breathe life back into those numbers? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down today. It's a concept called the weekly rhythm, and it's a super powerful but simple solution to that slow, creeping problem of performance drift. So what is it exactly? It's almost beautiful in its simplicity. The weekly rhythm is just a recurring weekly meeting. That's it. A meeting where a team member's scorecard gets reviewed and real coaching happens right then and there. It's not complicated at all, but believe me, it is a total game changer. Okay, so why is this little weekly meeting such a big deal? Why does this rhythm matter so much? Because it completely flips the script on performance management. It moves you from those awful, surprise-filled annual reviews to a world of consistent, real-time coaching. And the benefits here, they just stack up. You're creating this dedicated, reliable space for review. This means you can do immediate coaching on what happened last week, not 3 months ago. You stop that performance drift before it even becomes a real issue. And all those little problems, they don't get a chance to pile up into something massive. Now, think about it from your employee's side for a second. This consistency just removes so much anxiety. They know they have a time set aside every week to get help and feedback. That builds a ton of trust and psychological safety. And you end up with this perfect mix of accountability and genuine support. That's the secret sauce for a high-performing team. I mean, just look at the difference. It's so stark. Over on one side, you've got the old way, no rhythm, which just leads to those gut-wrenching annual surprises. And on the other side, with a weekly rhythm, you get real-time coaching. You're not a judge anymore. You're a partner in their performance, working on it together every single week. The difference is truly night and day. All right, I know what you're thinking. This all sounds great in theory, but how do you actually make it happen? Well, the good news is it's not complicated at all. Let's just walk through a simple 3-step guide that you can literally use to get your first rhythm on the calendar this week. So here it is. It really just boils down to these 3 things. First, you confirm the meeting itself. Second, you clarify the agenda so everybody knows the game plan. And third, you decide who's going to lead it. That's the whole shebang. Let's break each one down real quick. Step 1 is all about the logistics, but you can't skip it. It's non-negotiable. You have to answer this one simple question. Where and when does this performance review happen every single week? Get it in the calendar, make it a recurring event, and then you have to protect that time, because that little block on the calendar is the foundation for this entire system. Okay, next up, you need a crystal clear agenda. This isn't just some casual coffee chat. It's a focused working session. You're going to review their key scorecard metrics from the week before. You'll talk about what their top priorities are right now. And super important, you're going to identify anything that's blocking them or standing in their way. And then you provide the coaching and support they need to crush it. And finally, step 3, decide who leads the meeting. There can't be any confusion here. For this to really work, someone has to own it. And that ownership, well, it pretty much always falls to the person's direct leader or manager. That clear leadership is what keeps the meeting on track and makes sure it's productive week after week. So once you put all these pieces together, what does success actually look like? What does it feel like? Let's paint a really clear picture of the outcome you're aiming for so you know exactly when you've nailed it. Here's the bottom line. A successful rhythm means you have a named weekly meeting locked in place. There's zero confusion. Everyone on the team knows who attends it, who leads it, and exactly what gets reviewed. It just becomes a reliable and, frankly, invaluable part of your team's operating system. This right here is the ultimate goal. Summarize perfectly. Ask yourself this. Can you confidently say for every single role on your team, every week this person gets eyes on their numbers and access to coaching? When you can say yes to that, you haven't just put a process in place. You've built a culture of continuous improvement and real, genuine support. And that brings us to the final and honestly, the most important question. This isn't really about what you learned just now. It's about what you're going to do with it. So look at your team, look at your calendar, and ask yourself, what rhythm will you start this week?